Hi there, my name is John Shoemaker from the Department of Educational Technology. In this course, we will be going over the basics of Google Classroom. By the end of this session, you will know how to log into Google Classroom, how to add students, co-teachers, and guardians, how to create topics, add course material, assignments, and questions for discussion. Google Classroom is a tool for you to use to create the positive conditions for learning while teaching in a blended learning environment. Google calls Classroom its mission control, as it's the one place for activities and assignments to help your students identify critical content, process it, practice it, deepen their knowledge, and ultimately move towards more cognitively complex tasks. Finally, Classroom allows you to provide the adaptations you need to meet the diverse needs of your students. This course is here to help you master the basics of Google Classroom. As you're going through the course, don't hesitate to hit the pause button and try things for yourself. Oftentimes, it's extremely helpful to build a sandbox class in Classroom so you can play around and see how it all works without actually posting to your students. In addition to this course, we have a comprehensive website that includes resources on Google Classroom at edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. Once on that page, click on Live Stream Resources on the left, then Google Applications to find the Google Classroom support site. More information on our website will be available at the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and let's get started. In order to access Google Classroom, you can start first in your email box. Once in your inbox, move up to the little 9 dots in the top right corner and click there. Inside of the 9 dots, you see all the different Google apps that are available. You're going to want to scroll down. Now in my box, Classroom shows up here. However, some of you may not have it that far up on your box, so you may need to scroll down. And notice when I scroll down, I also have Classroom listed again down here. So to access Google Classroom, I'm just going to click on that tile. If for some reason you're signed in with a different account, like a personal account in the browser, you can always click and make sure you're signed in with your district account. You want to make sure you create all of your Google Classrooms with your district account. Once inside Google Classroom on the landing page, you'll see all the classes that you're already a part of. If you're not a part of any classes, there'll be an option to create a class directly from the middle of the screen. Otherwise, you need to go to the top right corner and click on the plus button, and then simply click Create Class. Now, give your class a name. Be sure that you're a little bit specific because this is what your students will see when they're joining your class. So they'll need to know exactly what it is. If I just put period 1, my students may not know exactly what I'm talking about. So I can call this period 1 ELA. You can give it a section name if you want. There's nothing really you need to do there. I'm going to make this language arts. And you can put your room number there if you want to, but that really doesn't matter as well. And then I'm going to click the word create. It'll take a second to create your class, but you'll know that you're ready to go and get started once you go to the landing page of that class. And now we're ready to move on. As with any new piece of software, the first thing you always want to do is take a peek behind the scenes and take a look at the settings. So now, from the landing screen of Google Classroom, I'm going to come to the top left corner to the little hamburger menu and click on that. Now, this lists my classes, my calendar, any course that I'm actually teaching, any course I'm enrolled in, my archived classes, and the settings for Google Classroom. So we're going to go into the settings. On this screen, it lets you see your profile picture, you can change your profile, and then also manage your other Google account settings. Always remember that not every account is able to be changed because it's based on district policy. Underneath of that is where you handle all of the notifications. Right now you can see I have notifications turned off, and that is not a good thing to do if you're teaching a class with students. So we recommend that you turn email notifications on. Now notice when I turned it on, it opened up a lot more different options for me to turn on and off. There are definitely a lot of emails that you can get with Google Classroom to get to the point where you're overwhelmed. So what you can do is come through here and turn off the ones that you feel like you don't need to be notified about. But you want to have at least some of them on, because then you know if anything is happening in the course that you're teaching. There's also the ability down at the bottom here, hidden by this little caret, that allows you to actually turn off or on notifications by the entire class. So if you want all notifications from one class, but you don't want any from another, you can come in here and just turn off all notifications for that class, and now you won't receive any notifications, but you will receive them for the classes that you have turned on. Again, it's highly recommended that you customize your notifications so that you receive email based on the things that you need to know, but also not overwhelm yourself with too many emails. This is also especially true if you're co-teaching a class. Now that you've created your class and set up your notifications, it's time to start inviting co-teachers, students, and guardians to your course. So each time you join your class, this is the landing page. From this page, we're going to look at the top of the screen and we're going to go to the People tab. Here, you will see who are teachers in this course. So everyone in this list is a co-teacher for this class. If you don't have anyone there, or the person you need to be a co-teacher is not there, simply come over here and click the plus sign and search for someone to be a co-teacher. Once you choose their name, all you have to do is click invite, and it will send them an email asking them to be a co-teacher of your course. Please keep in mind that co-teachers have almost every ability that you have as the teacher of the course. So co-teachers are able to post work to the classroom, to post any kind of announcement or material. They can delete things. So make sure that you know exactly who it is that you're inviting before you invite them to be a co-teacher. Once you have co-teachers, it's time to start adding students. So here, next to students, you see this plus sign. To add students, I click on this plus sign, and I just type in their name or their email address and select on their name and hit invite. Students will then get an email, just like teachers did, to join your Google Classroom. There's also another option that you can use to have students join your classroom, and at the top of each of your courses, you have this set of information. One option is a class code. With the class code, students could go to Google Classroom and join a class manually by clicking that plus sign and then typing in your unique code. It's important to remember this code is a secure code just for this course, so please don't post it to any public websites or social media or anywhere that it is just out in the public, because then anyone can log into your Google Classroom, and we definitely don't want that happening. One way you can also use this code is to email it out at the beginning of the year, or send it out through something like Remind or ParentLink by texting it out to your parents and having students sign in with this. Remember, this is how students join, not guardians. Once students have joined your course, notice down here I have a list of students who are part of this course. Next to their name is the word Invite Guardians. So to invite John Long's guardian, I just click on Invite Guardians. I type in the guardian's email address and hit the word invite, and the parent then gets an email to become a guardian of this student in Google Classroom. One thing that's nice about this is that if John Long already did this last year, or has another teacher who's already put in the parent's email address, this will not be an option, and I won't have to put in that student's guardian's email address. So once it's done for that student, it works in every class that student is already in. Also note that there is no link between the SIS system and Google Classroom. So the best way to get parents' email addresses would just be to copy it from the SIS and paste it here, unless you get the parent's email address from a different way. Now that you have students, teachers, parents in your classroom, it's time to start adding content. Content is what drives your classroom and keeps your students engaged as they learn remotely through a blended learning model. It's important to remember that Classroom is simply the launchpad to all kinds of other places to take students to then complete work and then come back into Classroom. So for example, some of our applications like BrainPop, students have to first go to the portal, authenticate, and then come back to Google Classroom to click on your BrainPop link before it will let them actually watch the video and complete the work in BrainPop. So those are little steps that are important to note while we're creating content inside of Google Classroom. When you first look at your class the first time, you're going to go to the Classwork tab. Here, this is basically your place where all of your work will be posted in Google Classroom. It's important to start thinking of an organizational system on how you want to organize Google Classroom. Later on in the school year, we will have some live streams on how to actually organize Google Classroom to make it more efficient. For now, think of the big buckets or big areas of the work that your students are going to complete. The first one I can think of is I'm going to hit create and I'm going to use the word topic. A topic is what helps you organize those big buckets. So we know every day you need to take attendance. So I'm going to take attendance through a Google form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a topic called check-in/SEL, because I'm also going to add a social emotional learning component to my daily check-in of students. Now I have an actual topic heading, so I can choose to post work that shows up under this heading. So for example, I now need to add my form. So I'm now going to hit create, and I'm not going to make it an assignment, I'm just going to post it as material. It's something students have to do. And I'm going to say, please be sure to sign in on this Google form so you are marked present for today. When I'm here, I have some other options. I've already made my form, so I'm going to go to the Add button and choose it from Google Drive. I can also create a form right here on the fly, but like I said, I've already made it in my Google Drive. Now, once I'm in my Drive, I look for my form. Here it is, my recent Google form, and hit Add. What my Google form consists of is it's just simply asking students, it'll automatically collect their email address. I ask for their name, what period this is, how they're feeling today, and which of the ones these you feel like today. And the emoji really helps students engage and lets you get a quick overall view of how your students are doing. We also added a question on how did you sleep last night? How was breakfast this morning? How comfortable are you using Google Classroom from home? And do you have any concerns for me as your teacher? The other thing is you can also add this as your bell ringer. So you can have a couple of review questions or previewing questions so you can see what students know about the work they're going to complete today or even later on this week. So that's my Google form. That form is available on our website edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org, on the Google Classroom page, you can scroll all the way to the bottom and there's an elementary and secondary version that you can take and customize yourself. So now I've added my form. Now I want to post it to my class. So here it lists every one of my classes, and I would want to post the form to each of my classes. And it also lists my students. It'll go to all students as well. But then here's that topic. I want it to be under the check-in SEL. And now I'm going to post. So material, as you can see, is just simply blank information. It's not a homework, it's not an assignment, it's just here's some information. So students can then come in, click here, and then click on the form to then fill it out. Now they can complete the form for me, and I get a great glimpse into how my students are feeling that day. So that's how to add topics and create an SEL daily check-in for attendance. Now that we have our daily attendance, let's think about some other ways to organize Google Classroom. As you can see in this classroom, I have my daily check-in, which I did in the last session, and now you notice I have some draft assignments here for the next 2 weeks. So in this class, I've organized my class by weeks, so students know that this is the first week of school and we're going to focus on the water cycle. So this is going to be all of the assignments for the week all in one place. This is just one way to organize your Google Classroom. There's no right or wrong way to organize your classroom. However, we really do suggest that you work with your administration, because the more streamlined and consistent each of the teachers' Google Classrooms are, the easier it is for students. Because keep in mind, while you're building this all the same for your class, your students are going to see up to 6 or 7 different Google Classrooms each day. So if there's a consistent naming scheme, students all know to look under week 1, and this is the work they need to complete this week. So please be sure to have a discussion with your grade level or your subject area or your administration to see if there's a policy at your school to use a consistent layout inside of Google Classroom. Underneath the rock cycle, notice I have a copy of the standards and objectives. So I can edit it if I want, but then I just have a Discovery Education video, a BrainPop video, a Newsela article I found, and then I want students to complete an essay and a quiz. So that is my entire set of week 2 assignments for students. Notice they're still in drafts, so students do not get to see them. Let's take a little bit closer look though of what it looks like to add these types of things. When we hit the create button, you've already created material. So I'm gonna go take a look at some of the other options. For example, the assignment option. Choosing an assignment option is what you do to get students to turn in their work. So let's say I want students to do an essay on the rock cycle. Now I'm going to want my students to do this in Google Docs, but before I started posting this, I actually didn't make a template inside of Google Docs yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one here on the fly by clicking on plus create and docs, and notice it's creating me a Google Doc right now. It pushes me in to Google Docs. I'm in a new tab, and now I have the ability to create a template. So I'm just going to call this rock cycle essay, and I'm going to put directions. Please describe the rock cycles in a few paragraphs below. Right? Perfect. I'm going to come back here to Google Classroom, and notice it hasn't saved yet, but it'll update that actual document name eventually. And now here's the important part for assignments with Google Drive. I can choose whether students can view the file. That means that students are only able to look at it. They can't do anything to it. They can't edit it. They can't do anything but view the document. This is great for like project directions, where you're actually going to be writing out a set of directions for students that you don't want them to change, but you want them to be able to come back to and look at. The next option is students can edit the file. This means that all of your students have access to edit that same Google document that I just wrote. This is good if you want to build a big collaborative document or slideshow where you want every student to be working on the same document or slide deck at the same time. But in this one, I want each student to write their own essay. So what I want to do is make a copy for each student. When I do this and assign it, it will actually create a new Google Doc and rename that Google Doc with the student's name at the front of that Google Doc. And when they click on it, it will create the document just for them. So that's what I'm going to choose, okay? Again, we have the options over here, but there's some more of them. First of all, where do I want it to go? Which students do I want it to get it? Because it's an assignment, how many points is it worth? What's the due date? So I'm going to come in and make the due date be, this is the second week of school, right? So I'm going to make it be, I like all my work being done on Sunday, and I'm going to put it at 11:59 p.m., right? And is there a topic? Correct, yes, so I would have it under the rock cycle, right? You can also add a rubric, which we're not going to go into here, but that option is there as well. Now, there are other options like scheduling this, so maybe I don't want my essay to go live until halfway through the week, so the students have day 1 and day 2 to learn about it, and then they have Wednesday and Thursday and Friday to then complete all the work. For now though, I'm just going to click Assign. This is the essay on the rock cycle, and you'll notice when I go back to my Google Classroom, once it's finished assigning, I will have essay on the rock cycle and when it is due. Okay, so there we have it right there underneath. That is an assignment. The other thing we're going to look at is asking a question. A question is simply that, just a question you want to ask your students. So perhaps you want to try to start off each day a little light. So today I'm just going to say, what is your favorite movie? This is another way you can do an attendance check-in as well, where each day you post an engaging question that students have to answer, and you know they're present because they've actually come in here and answered it. Just like the others, I can add a picture, a link to a YouTube video, or create it on the fly. I can choose what classes it goes to, which students get it, how many points it is, or I can make it ungraded, this is attendance. When it's due, so obviously I want it to be due the day that you're posting this one, so I'm going to make this one the 17th. And all my students have to post their work by 10 o'clock p.m. And is there a topic? I'm going to stick this one under check-in SEL, but again, you can choose or create a new topic. The other thing you want to do is say, can students reply to one another? This could make an engaging conversation even more engaging by having students actually replying to one another directly on there. So students can then say, that's my favorite movie too. So that's an option when you are actually posting a question. You also have students can come back and edit their answer as well. So those two are your options for how you would like to handle the question. I'm going to click Ask. It's going to save and then post to my Google Classroom and then be available here under the check-in SEL. If I choose that I don't want it here, I can always come in here. And actually, I can also grab it too. I can just come in and grab it and move it down here because it belongs under week 2. And now it's part of the rock cycle week. So it's all in one nice place. So that's how you add content to your Google Classroom. Now that I have my content posted to my Google Classroom for the next 2 weeks, it's now time to go live with my students and meet them in a live Google Meet. To do that, Google actually built in Google Meet directly into Google Classroom. So what we're going to do is come up here inside of my class to the gear and click on the settings for this class. Again, I can change the different settings from the original time we built the class. There's the option here to also display the class code to join, reset it, or disable it. There's some other settings here on how your stream looks and what student permissions they have. And then here we have a section on Google Meet. So when it's time to start meeting with students, all I have to do is click Generate Meet Link. And once I do that, Google Classroom automatically creates a unique link for my class to meet. There's also the option to make it visible for students. So now when I click Save, and I go back out to the main part of my classroom, you notice I now have a link where students can click on and join the Google Meet. Google Meet is a technology that allows video conferencing so that you can see the faces of your students and hear their voices through the camera and microphone of their system. Google is constantly updating Google Meet, especially for remote learning. So please always keep up to the most up-to-date information on Google Meet by visiting our website at edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org and checking out the Google Meet page. One thing to keep in mind is that students are not able to join this link until the teacher actually logs into the meeting. So as long as the teacher is on the landing page, then students are able to get into the Meet. So as a best practice, what I would do as a teacher is join the Google Meet, then make it visible for my students. Then my students can then join me in the Google Meet. We have our Google Live session. All students then leave the Google Meet, and then I can come back up here into the gear and make it not visible for students anymore and hit Save. Also note that when the last student leaves the Google Meet, as long as the teacher is the last person to leave, it's like you are going and closing the door on your classroom. Students can no longer get back into that Google Meet. Notice now it has a little icon here to show that students cannot see my Google Meet link. As an added precaution, you could also come in here and reset the link to your Google Classroom after each session, and it will change so that then you have an even more secure location. One thing to also know, again, like I said, students cannot join the Meet until the teacher is there. There are some great features to Google Meet, so again, please stay up to date at our website. The Department of Educational Technology has a range of resources available to help you not only with Google Classroom, but also with a whole host of other applications and software products for blended and face-to-face learning. Our website at edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org is the hub of where everything that we do. To navigate on the left, you can see all of the different main buckets of things that we're doing on our team. For example, we have information on curriculum integration with the 4 C's and the ISTE standards. And when you click on those pages, each page has information, videos on how to integrate all of that into your everyday teaching and learning. Also, we have a Tech Talk coming up on October 13th, so save that date and you'll see more information coming soon. All of our resources on products are labeled under live stream resources. We've categorized them in several larger buckets and then some that don't exactly fit into any bucket. So all you have to do is hit the little carrots to continue to expand each of the different ones. And so for example, this is our Google Classroom website that has video training We also have information on how to introduce students to Google Classroom. These are great videos to have your students watch and learn how to use Google Classroom. We've also heard many teachers who want information for parents, so we have an embedded slide deck here, along with a short video for parents to show them what Google Classroom is. So these are great resources for you to be able to start using and share with your students. We also have one-page handouts on everything that we talked about today and more. Things like creating quizzes and things like that are more advanced are also on this website. And also down at the very bottom are those attendance forms that we talked about as well. So our website has a lot of great resources available for you. In addition to that, we have the Digital Learning Institute that happened in June, and also some virtual learning experiences. All of the videos and resources are there for you on that page. In addition, on the main page, when you scroll down, we have a calendar embedded that will show you all of the different training that we will be doing throughout the school year. Obviously, since it's summer right now when we're recording this video, there's not a lot on this calendar, but you'll start to see it fill up, and all you do is click on it and join whatever meeting is there. I'm just going to slide back a little bit and look for earlier events to let you see how all of the different events that we had right there at the end of the school year and ever since that we started remote learning is all located in this one spot. And like I said, all you have to do is click on the one you're interested in, and you can click the link to join the live stream, or you can join the link with the Educational Technology office hours if you have questions. In addition to our calendar, we have our link to our YouTube channel. All of our videos are located on our YouTube channel, and our live streams will resume in August. The lovely thing about everything that we did on YouTube is that it's all saved for you to watch. So for example, these red videos are all the videos from the EdTech Institute, a 2-day awesome PD that we did in June. The chalkboard-like backgrounds were the virtual learning experiences that we did for students and adults. And then before that, we have all of our guest speakers and our own EdTech staff that did all of these live streams. We're almost up to 100 different videos for you to go learn all about all the stuff. And there's a lot of amazing content here. So please feel free to come to our channel. And if you're not subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell if you want to get notified anytime that we go live. Thank you so much for joining us in this course on Google Classroom 101. So now we want to talk about what the implementation and follow-up will be for this course. In this course, if you would like to get your full credit and get your points, what we would like you to do is to create your own Google Classroom, and we need you to include at least 3 topics. So as you can see here, we have 3 topic levels. And then we also want you to have at least 1 item under each topic, and they need to be different. So we need to see either a question, material, or assignment. So one of each of those 3 types as well. It doesn't matter which one goes where, but they need to be different, and you need to have 3 different topics. Once you have that, we want you to take a screenshot of your screen. If you don't know how to do that, there's a link to how to take a screenshot on any device in the resources of this course. So please feel free to access that document to learn how to take a screenshot, and then upload that as a PDF to ELM, and it will be graded to get your points. On behalf of the Department of Educational Technology training team and the EdTech team as a whole, I want to thank you so much for joining us. We are happy to be here to support you in any way that you need during the school year. If you need any assistance at all, please don't hesitate at all to reach out to us via email, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We appreciate all the time you spent learning with us at the end of last year. We are here to continue to support you in being the best educator possible. So thank you again. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to learn with you again soon.